Hello everyone and welcome back to Peay, Austin Peay's exclusive video game news and discussion show. For the second episode of Season 2, we want to take a look at those games we started but never quite finished, as well as what titles to keep an eye out for in October. This is going to be a great one, folks. Get ready to get nerdy. This is Peay. Hello and welcome back to Season 2 of Peay. I'm your host, Brandon Crosslin. Alongside me are my awesome co-hosts. As always, we have Franklin Galan and a familiar face to Peay, Lizzie Pegram. How you doing, Lizzie?
I'm doing pretty good.
Great to have you here.
It is good to have another episode rolling along, and this just makes me more excited for what's in store for today and the rest of the semester. But first, Lizzie, welcome back to Peay.
Well, thank you.
I know you were with us for an episode last semester. How exciting is it for you to be back here?
Oh, very, of course, because now we have a whole new semester with a great lineup of games to talk about, especially even today. And of course, I'm very excited. It's a whole new season for sure.
Some real classics coming up today.
That's right. Well, thanks for the introduction. I'm glad to be back. Let's head over to Brandon for the first game that he, never got to see the end of.
Undertale is an RPG first created in 2015 by American indie developer Toby Fox. In the game, players control a human child who has fallen into the underground, a large secluded region underneath the surface of the earth, separated by a magic barrier. Ooh. The player meets various monsters during a quest to return to the surface, mainly through the combat system. The player navigates through many bullet attacks by the opponent and can opt to pacify or subdue monsters in order to spare them instead of killing them. These choices affect the game, with the dialogue, characters, and story changing based on outcomes. Here's the trailer for Undertale if you missed it. Well, that was the trailer for Undertale, and this is my game that I never finished. And I started playing this in 2016, my freshman year here at Austin Peay. I was living over at Erickson Hall, and a group of my buddies and we all started our own gaming clan, for the year called Erickson Bad Boys with a Z at the end. We are on Steam. We're still on Steam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Established February 2016. But like the first games we really played together were Gmod and Left 4 Dead 2, things like that. And one of my friends really started playing Undertale and like, hey, you gotta play this. It's really awesome. And like I was watching him play, I was like, hey, that looks cool. And like I had a laptop, so like, hey, I can probably run this because it's nothing.
Don't take a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun, and like what really stuck out to me the most was how simple it was and how much care Toby Fox really put into making this game. It was an independent game, so really he's not overshadowed by a bigger company, so he gets to put all the love he wants to put into it. And the soundtrack is widely praised, and like you can buy the soundtrack separately on Steam just because it's that big of a deal.
Yeah. And
there's so many memorable themes. Gameplay-wise, though, that's where it got to me. You get through the tutorial, it's great, and like you get surprised all the time, and then it starts to feel like Pokemon.
Yeah.
in a sense. Like you're walking across,
Yeah.
oh no, a wild something appeared,
Yeah.
and then you can choose to run away or something. And my friends, I got to watch my friends beat the game, and they chose the kill everything mode.
Oh no! The point is though, it's like that you can go the whole game without killing anybody, and I don't know how satisfying that is for some people. But I mean, I guess that's sort of nifty. It's so sweet and so innocent. But yeah, like it really did remind me of Pokemon when I first had seen it. Like it's just so simple, and then you're just walking, and a little frog pops up, and then you can just compliment him. And then you can.
All the little nifty things here and there. That's like, it's just when you had downtime stopping in villages and stuff, and you get to just, every little thing almost had a text piece to it.
Yeah.
And the different characters when they talk, like Sans, his text is in Sans font.
Yeah.
And it's all, there's no actual voices, and so you go by tones.
Right. Yeah. Like there was like when the little frog pops up, and then you can compliment him, and then it'll just say, "Frog does not understand what you are saying,"
Because he's a frog.
but is flattered.
Exactly.
That's right. And then he just goes on his way.
I feel like Undertale, though, for what it was at the time, it just really was like a huge phenomenon.
It was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Yes, and then it got to the point where pretty much it was available everywhere. Like, no matter what you played on, be it Microsoft systems, Steam, or even PSN, you just saw it there because the game was so well regarded and it had just a huge following.
It's kind of like how Super Meat Boy went. Eventually it was everywhere.
It was
Yeah.
an indie darling that just started as like a small passion project, and then it just blew up to what
Yeah.
it is today, and it's still well loved.
And I do really like it a lot, but I can also see why you did not finish it.
Yeah.
It does seem a little repetitive and a little, dare I say, boring a little bit, just because, I guess it gets a little old after a little bit.
I will say, for one thing, it got really hard, and that's when I stopped. And then to add on to that, I lost my original save because my original laptop crashed, and so I basically have to start all over.
Yeah.
So I'll get around to that when I get around to it.
And maybe not worth it.
That was my game. So it's time for Lizzie. What was the game you never really got to finish?
Skyrim.
Oh yeah.
So Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, is an action role-playing video game developed by Bethesda Game Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks. It is the fifth main installment of the Elder Scrolls series, following the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, and was originally released worldwide for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360 on November 11th, 2011. And then the game's main story revolves around the player's character's quest to defeat the Alduin, the World Eater, a dragon who is predicted to destroy the world. The game is set 200 years after the events of Oblivion and takes place in the fictional province of Skyrim. Over the course of the game, the player completes quests and develops the character by improving skills. The game continues the open world tradition of its predecessors by allowing the player to travel anywhere in the game world at any time, and to ignore or postpone the main story indefinitely, such as me. So let's take a look. Yeah, so Skyrim, amazing game, very, very well known. But it's just because it is such a huge open world, there's just so much to do, and I cannot stay like focused and to go with that main quest, because there's these fun little side quests that like to pop up, and then you're just defeating random little bandits and spiders and stuff like that. And I just like, and the scenery is gorgeous. So I think I just like venturing around, killing whatever comes up to me and just discovering stuff. Definitely probably not doing what the player was intended to do, but.
It's very, very easy to get lost
Yeah.
in Tamriel, especially in Skyrim with that 5th edition on the 360 consoles and PS3. And they were really on the top of their game. Get it? Game. But like, that
I'll allow it.
Elder Scrolls Skyrim is the game that, in my opinion, defines our generation
Oh yeah.
of gaming.
That's a strong call.
Lately,
That's
Yeah.
in that decade,
Yeah.
in the 2010s.
It
Would you
is
say
so
that?
well known.
I can
and
agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can agree with you. Sorry for cutting you off. I can
No.
agree with you, but I still think we still have other games that sort of fit that category as well, but more along the lines of Skyrim. The reason what made it so memorable, not only to me, but a lot of other people, it's just, as you said, you can pretty much do anything. And a lot of these games that have, well, that follow the open world format, they have that same mindset, but there's nothing like Skyrim.
Oh yeah.
It's
You know?
very replayable, and that's the
Right.
trouble with finishing it. If you want to finish the main quest, I think how I eventually ended up actually finishing the main quest is just like the lead-ons in the storyline. Like once you finish it, it really invites you to continue. Yeah.
For Skyrim, oh no.
Oh no, go ahead.
But Skyrim, it's just like, yeah, you put it better yourself. Once you beat the main quest line, you're just sitting there and you're like, now what?
Yeah.
And then you just look at the map and you're just like,
Look at all
I
these
have
places I've been.
all these
I've
places
already
I've
been
been,
Yeah.
and there's still so much more that I don't even know. Let me keep going.
Yeah.
Eventually, I had to stop myself from playing it. I was just like, I'm good. That's it. I'm done.
Time to give it
and
a
then
break.
Black Friday happened, and I bought it for $25, and I was
Oh,
like,
no.
here we go again.
And with the modability of the game, it just creators have gone off the walls and added so much more.
Oh yeah.
Like it almost could seem official content.
Yeah,
to-
it
to
doesn't
the
stop
game.
for sure. And then, if anything, it sort of reminds me, because the only thing, so Bethesda also did Fallout 4, and that is one game that I did finish of theirs, and their open world game that I surprisingly did finish. And, but that one, for sure, it did take me a very long time, because it's the same sort of thing where you get distracted, and I wasn't even completely sure what the main quest was. So I'm just, all these new things keep popping up. Preston Garvey comes up to me like, the settlement needs your help. I'm like, okay.
I've yet to finish a Fallout title.
Yeah.
I got New Vegas and then I got the New Canaan DLC.
Yeah.
I made the huge mistake of jumping into that, and now I can't get out.
Right.
Until you finish that.
Yeah,
So
no.
I'm stuck.
That's a catch
Yeah.
right
But
there.
I guess
man.
it's just the beauty of it. You can just spend as much time as you want with it, for as long as you want.
Fair enough.
But last but definitely not least, Franklin is going to take us into the world of Andromeda and Mass Effect.
Lizzie, thank you. Mass Effect Andromeda is an action role-playing video game developed by BioWare and published by Electronic Arts for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Released worldwide on March 2017, it is the fourth major entry in the Mass Effect series and the first since Mass Effect 3 back in 2012. The game begins within the Milky Way galaxy during the 22nd century, where humanity is planning to populate new homeworlds in the Andromeda galaxy as part of a strategy called the Andromeda Initiative. The player assumes the role of either Scott or Sarah Ryder, an inexperienced military recruit who joins the initiative and wakes up in the Andromeda galaxy following a 634-year journey. Events occur that result in Ryder becoming humanity's pathfinder, tasked with finding a new home world for humanity while also dealing with an antagonistic alien race called the Ket, and uncovering the secrets of a mysterious synthetic race called the Remnant.
We dream of exploring the unknown, discovering what lies beyond.
The entire initiative is at risk. None of the Golden Worlds panned out. They're a bust. We need to find more resources, but that takes people, and we can't wake them up. Now more than ever, we need a Pathfinder.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind. And I can see through this, see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying.
No way this is home.
Oh.
That's why I'm here, exploring the unknown.
Who are these guys?
Visitors just like us.
Get her on the shuttle now!
Nice work, kid.
I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me.
Meridian is mine.
He has access!
No more mercy. Kill them all.
I'm only human. Made mistakes. I'm only human. All it takes is put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me.
Now you are a part of the first wave of arcs arriving in Andromeda, our new home for humanity.
And that was the trailer for Mass Effect Andromeda. Honestly, what I can say about the game, it's like, the idea of it was really interesting because I was a huge fan of the Mass Effect series. I started with Mass Effect 2, and then I was hooked immediately, and I got 3, and I went back to 1 and played through all the games leading up to Andromeda's release. But the thing that sort of interests me was the idea of just a breath of fresh air with the series. But when I got the game, I started playing it. At first, I was like, I like what I'm getting into. I like what I see. I'm gonna keep going. I got about 40 to 50 hours in, and then I was just like, what's going on here? Why should I really care about this stuff? I don't have an attachment to the characters in the story like I did with the previous trilogy. And it just, I put it down, and I was like, let me get back to this. Let me play something else. Let me just take my mind off it. And then from that point on, it was just, no, I don't need it. I don't need it.
40 and 50 hours, that's a big investment to finally just say, hey, I don't care about it anymore.
Right.
Yeah, well,
It must have been a really weak story to not be interested.
it was, and I even played through how an early controversy the series had was the facial animations and how off-putting it was. I know we just talked about Skyrim, but this for a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and PC, having facial animations like that is unacceptable nowadays.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you still put up with some of it, obviously, but this is Mass Effect. You know, this is a AAA game that you're expecting $60, and then you get stuff like that. Not only just the facial animation, but the idea that possibly a portion of the story was left out of the game. There was the Quarians, another race within the series. Their entire story was just left out of the game.
Right, because it was set like over 600 years later, and they're not even really correlated in a way. It was just sort of like its own little game. So yeah, I mean, I hadn't played the other 3 ones, but yeah, I guess, you know, if I'm expecting to see this 4th new Mass Effect, that's, you know, but it just has no correlation to these other ones, just this off little game. Yeah, like you said, $60, not looking so hot. But, you know, and I don't know, like, I don't know a lot about it. But you know, I know I would be disappointed. I want to see a little bit relating to the past games. You know.
Let me unpack that for you. It had some sort of callbacks to the previous series, but the thing that made a lot of people upset was how this game was handled. You'd think that with a 4th game in the series and the new idea of having just this breath of fresh air for the franchise, we'd have something interesting and unique, because we're already well into this cycle of the current consoles, about 5 or 6 years in, and just having a game released like how it did, and even playing the multiplayer, which I haven't even touched on that yet.
Oh, yeah.
It just felt lifeless. Like you got your game that's a sandbox, but it just feels empty or hollow. It's not like Skyrim where you know, it feels like a lived, breathed-in world.
Yeah.
Think of it as sitting on a ride, and you just look at the things, but then you don't really have that attachment to it. you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And just the story, at first I was interested in it, but then the further along I got, the more I was just like, what is the point for me even continuing? Like, for what it was a solid game, but then the more I thought about it and the more of the behind the scenes story I heard with the controversies involved with it, I just said, I've had enough.
Yeah. And let me ask you this, like, so if there's going to be another Mass Effect, like the Mass Effect 5, whatever they might call it, are you interested in playing that? Or do you expect the same sort of thing?
You're the kind of man that doesn't watch trailers, so how are you going to know? Until you rent it. You're probably going to end up renting it if you don't want to purchase the full 60.
Yeah, you don't want to promise anything, you know.
Yeah, as you all know, depending on certain games,
Unless
don't
you want
watch.
to take that out of the cement, we can undo that right now.
No. Let me unpack this for you, okay? Yeah, you guys asked me good questions, so I should answer that.
Thank you.
But I watch trailers, I do. For games I'm really interested in, I'll take the time. I don't want to know too much about a story. I'd rather be surprised than just experienced from there.
Yeah.
But with Mass Effect, I actually did watch the trailers. And you had...
Maybe that's what it did for you.
Yeah.
No.
bad
The trailers, it got me interested. It got me excited. And I was like, I like what I'm seeing. Let me actually give it a shot. And then I got it on release day, and I played it for a few weeks. And then it went from happiness and excitement to where it was just like,
Yeah.
oh.
It was all that hype you had built up for it. You had seen those trailers, like, it's going to be good just like the other three. And then you get it, and
It's like the No Man's Sky effect.
yeah.
Oh no, not that.
Yeah, I'm bringing that back.
Oh,
No,
So I'm the outsider here on this title, having not played a Mass Effect title. So I wanted to know how does it compare, say, to Halo 3? Is it a first-person shooter first of all?
no, it's third person.
Third-person strategy shooter?
It's
or
third person. Think of it along the lines of Gears of War. It's like that. It's a cover shooter, but you can still move around the environment. It's not as, well, you're glued to the wall as in Gears of War.
Is it all story-driven, like you got to go this way?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But the issue, Mass Effect, for the trilogy, Mass Effect 1 through 3, combat, each game felt like it was improving bit by bit. With Andromeda, you also had it to where it felt like combat at first was a step up. But the issue in that was when you were playing the game, it felt too floaty. Like, it didn't feel like your stuff had an impact, even though you were taking out enemies and doing things like that.
Yeah.
And compared to the older games, the story, it was a build-up. It was a build-up, like you mentioned with Halo 3, where this is as good as it can get. And with Andromeda, having that breath of fresh air and this new whole galaxy to explore, pretty much fans were thinking the only way this series can go is up. Therein lies the issue. Your expectations are up here,
Right.
but the game is really down here. And then the worst part of it all, you're never going to finish the story.
Yeah.
You missed a huge chunk of it, and it's released in a novel. Like, you have to go out and actually buy a book.
No, don't be reading those
wow.
novels. There's Halo novels out there too.
No, but the Halo novels, those are good though.
Oh,
The Halo novels.
sure.
Those,
I can't read synthetic books. So.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can always use the e-store with Kindles
Actually did not know they had books.
or
Yeah.
Yeah.
audiobooks.
That's something I learned today.
But about this Mass Effect, did you say it's by BioWare?
Yes.
Okay, those are the people who made the Old Republic online. So
Old Republic, Dragon Age, that's another series.
Old Republic is probably the only thing I played from BioWare.
Dragon Age was really good. The first one was really good. The second one was, it was all right.
Yeah.
The third one, I should have added this to the list as well. I played it for about 40 to 50 hours the same
the
way
same
with,
thing.
yeah. And then I got into the multiplayer, but unlike Mass Effect, I was pretty much hooked from the beginning. I played that multiplayer for so long with my friends, and with Andromeda, I played it for a few days and I just said, I just don't feel like anything I'm doing here really matters. Like, I'm not having fun
Yeah.
with what I'm experiencing.
Just going through the motions.
It's not like Skyrim, where Skyrim filled its own sort of content where it's like, I'm enjoying what I'm doing here.
Right. I don't need to finish the game. I'm enjoying these little side quests. But yeah, I like games a little more like I have a little more variety what to do. There's plenty of games I love that are just, that straight sort of paths, like Andromeda, where it just, you have to go through the motions and do what you have to do whatever. But I mean, I like to venture out, and I'm not a big fan. Well, I can't say that about third-person shooters. I love first-person shooting games, but third-person,
Star Wars Battlefront did it best.
Yeah.
The OG Star Wars Battlefront is made for third-person shooter.
Right. Certain
Let's
ones
agree
can.
on that then, because now we have to talk about October's releases.
Here we go.
We are officially in the month of October, everyone. So that means a new month for cool releases to look forward to. Here are a couple of games to keep your eyes peeled for. Lizzie?
Forza Horizon 4, which released yesterday on PC and Xbox One. Super Mario Party, which comes out this Friday for Nintendo Switch. And Red Dead Redemption 2. And that comes out October 26th for PS4 and Xbox One.
Forza Horizon 4 would be the top of my list if I had a console to play it.
See, for me, it's Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
I like them all.
Right.
To be honest, I like them all.
I'm
I
a
like
little
all
excited for each one.
three. I wish I had something to play all three of them.
Maybe one day, but
Yeah, I love
just
a little bit of everything.
like Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption, the first one, sorry. It's kind of confusing. There's only a 2 separating the both of these titles.
Right.
The first one came out in 2010, and that game did so well that I believe, correct me if I'm mistaken, everyone, unless you guys
It's
don't know.
it's a GTA 4 with a Wild West engine.
yeah,
GTA
yeah.
4 engine with the Wild West.
Really it
Yes,
is.
But not only that, the voice actor for the main character, John Marston, he pretty much retired from voice acting, and then he became a farmer.
Oh,
Yeah.
like in real life.
Doing
Yeah.
all those
Oh, yeah.
lines made him think of the simpler life.
Yeah, because the game was that good. Like,
Wow.
He was satisfied. I can go farm now.
you say games that define this generation. Red Dead Redemption is one of those games that deserves to be on that list.
Well, sure.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
And not only that, but from what people in the press have been saying and other people that have gotten to try the first several hours of the game, they're saying that the hype behind Red Dead Redemption 2, it's warranted. There's so much attention to detail in that game, and it's just like,
It seems like it.
I need
Yeah.
this. I can't wait till it's the end of the month.
Oh yeah, and just ride around your horse for hours at a time, running up on people's houses, them threatening to shoot you and get off my land. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing about Forza Horizon 4 before we run out of time. It's definitely not something I'll be able to play anytime soon, but I have heard that they're adding seasons to the game, online gameplay.
Yeah.
So that's one of the major features they're adding. It's going to be in a England, UK type of setting, and like every other week it'll change from winter, spring, summer, fall, and it looks really pretty. And
Yeah.
my only experience with it was the first Horizon. I played the demo, and then my friend has Forza Horizon 2. I played both of those on 360. I had no idea what 3 and 4 feel like or look like. I know what they look like, but like
Right. Yeah.
How they
never
play.
had that much time with them. Yeah, so I'm probably out of touch with that series right now.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about Super Mario Party?
Super Mario Party. Super Mario Party, what can I say about that? It's a game series where you just gather all your friends around, get some like soda and some pizza.
Soda.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Did they
yeah.
take wait, did they take the numbers off of it? Are they like rebooting it?
No, well, it's a new console, so
Okay.
it's not really a reboot. It's more of it's something to enjoy for everyone who's never had a chance to play
Yeah,
it.
I played it on the DS by myself. That was the last Super Mario Party I ever played. Well, I never thought we could talk about games we never finished, but hey, that was so fetch. October 3rd, sneak in there. I definitely didn't realize how many games there truly are that people haven't completed, but that seems to be the case.
Yeah.
Thanks again to our awesome crew of students working behind the scenes to keep this show running, as well as the co-producers Haleigh Smith and Dr. Rob Barron, who is having a great time in Niagara Falls right now. So until next time, let's go Peay!